Alrighty, we were pleased to be joined by Roman Timmerman, the reigning 2021 Sask Men's Amateur Champion, this past week up in Swift Current at the Elmwood Golf Course. Roman, thanks for jumping on the podcast today, man.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Rome's, it's been a long time coming. We wanted to have you on for a long time, but now you're here. You had a record-breaking week. But first, before we get into all that, let's talk about school a little bit. Playing golf down south. You play a lot of golf throughout the year. You come back to playing Swift. What sorts of things were you doing in preparation for the amateur?
I feel like I have a great opportunity while I'm at school to really get good practice in. We have great facilities where I'm at, and especially during like the winter time, being able to play all year round has really helped, and I think has contributed to my success during the summer here.
So you end up shooting minus 26. Like, you're a psycho. One, you eat pizza with a fork and knife, so that's incredible. But you end up beating a guy named Graham Dillette. Ever heard of him? His record of minus 21, I believe it was it minus 22? Either way, you end up beating it by a few shots. You shoot minus 7 day one and then minus 9 day two. Walk us through what's going through your brain after you shoot 7 under day one and then kind of day two, following up with an even better round.
Yeah, well, I had no idea about that record. I really didn't know until after the final round. But yeah, the first two rounds were pretty cool. I felt like I was in a little bit of a zone, just trying to make as many birdies as possible. I felt like the course suited me pretty well. I had a good game plan going into the week, and yeah, man, it was pretty cool just getting in that zone the second round. After that first round, I really wasn't expecting that for the second round, but just to get things rolling and finish strong that second round was pretty cool.
Yeah, so Rip and I had plans too to play pretty well, and we had a game plan. We were focused, but after we saw your round of 7 under day one, we kind of both looked at each other and said, hey, maybe we'll just compete for the mid-am.
The only game plan that went our way was our Friday night or Thursday night.
Yeah, only the first round was good, and then Thursday night we had fun. But Rome's, I don't know. I guess the kind of question I want to ask is, I mean, and you probably see a lot of guys down south that play and practice every day that play pro golf. You know, shooting those kind of numbers, you allow yourself to be in contention every week, I would say, on the pro tour. Where do you see yourself after going back to school for one more year, where you're at with your game?
Yeah, I feel like this week kind of gave me like I don't know. It felt cool just to see that I could like really shoot those numbers, see like those guys down there playing pro golf, they're shooting these numbers every day, every week. It's taken 25, 2600 to win. So just to know that I can do that and hopefully compete on those stages is pretty cool. So yeah, after school, I'm gonna give it a shot. Hopefully play maybe Canadian tour or some other tours down there. So I'm excited, man.
So before we get into that, I do want to ask, I mean, obviously, Ty's won his championship last year. Cade has won his. What did it mean to you to win this tournament this past week up in Swift? Yeah, I mean, maybe just for you and your family.
Yeah, it was cool. Put in a lot of hard work going into this, and just seeing Cade and Ty, I'm so close with those guys, and to see those guys have that success, it was really awesome. They've really been supportive, and yeah, man, I can't thank those guys enough for just pushing me and every day, and yeah, it's been awesome.
So what's the plan now? Obviously, I mean, you're going back to school for one more year, and then like you've now earned a spot in the Mackenzie Tour up in Elkridge there in this summer. Are you planning to play in that event?
Yeah, I'll definitely play in that event. I think I'm just gonna delay my trip down south a couple weeks and stay here until I guess that tournament's September 6th. So leave right after that, go down to school and finish my school up there.
Awesome. Okay, Rome, some questions have come in from today. Stephen Olescu has asked, best score at Riverside.
Best score at Riverside. Unofficial 64. was it last year? But we had a temp green on 9, so it didn't count,
Well,
which sucked, man. It was,
still good playing
it
though.
was brutal.
Another one here from MLESBSACK6. I can't get the name here, but any certain routine you follow before a tournament or just regular golf?
Not necessarily. It kind of depends on the week. I mean, at school, it's not really up to me when we show up to the course. It's more up to our coach, so it's a little different there. But when I'm here and I have my own schedule, I'll usually just show up maybe 50 minutes before, get some putts in, hit some balls, and then back to the putting green, and then to the first tee. It's pretty simple. I don't try to overcomplicate things.
You want to say that again so I can write that down?
I think you're doing well enough, Coach.
All right, one more here from Taylor Afseth. Congrats on not only the win, but the new record that came with that. You've been in spots to go super low before, I'm sure. Mentally, what was different this time so you could keep going low over 4 days?
It's a good question. Man, I just tried to just stick to what I was doing. I didn't try to overthink anything. I was just staying in the moment. Kind of got in a little bit of a groove, and I knew that the back nine at Swift was scoreable.
Yeah.
So I just tried to really take advantage of those holes, and yeah, it was a different week than I've ever had before. It was a different feeling that I've ever had, and it was cool. It was really cool.
Awesome, Romes. I have one more. I'm not sure if Rip has any questions. After you go back to school for one more year here, will you be coming back to defend your title or going right to pro?
That's a good question. I haven't thought that far yet, Coach.
Next question.
I haven't thought that far.
You should just go pro. Let me have a chance.
I would love to play another summer circuit, man. Like, these tournaments are so awesome. I love coming to the Am, seeing all you boys. It's really fun.
Yeah, I find it so fun. Like I'm starting to come to them and just meeting all the boys. Like, it's a good crew.
It's different than any other province, I think. Like, all of us are so tightly knit.
Yeah, everyone gets along.
Yeah, and like, you don't get a bad grouping in a tournament, man. Like, everybody is so nice, so supportive. So I wish I could play this like the rest of my life. It's so much fun.
So when you're down south, are there assholes or what?
I mean,
not to name names, you can just say, yeah, there's guys that are.
Yeah, I mean, there's guys that you don't necessarily look forward to playing with, but
yeah,
I feel like it's a little different down there. Guys are a little more serious.
Yeah.
But there's not anybody that I despise playing with down there.
You know, got Ziggy ripping.
We don't got any Ziggies. We don't got any Ziggies down at school. I'll tell you that.
All right, Romes. Like I said, we appreciate coming on today. We're happy for you. Congrats again on a record-breaking week, as they've been calling it, and it is. Roman, your 2021 Sask Men's Amateur Champion. Best of luck rest of the way.
Hey, let's see the trophy.
Yeah, let's see the trophy. Yeah.
There it is.
Look at that thing.
Sick.
Unreal.
All right. Thanks,
Roman,
boys. Thanks
so much, buddy.
Congrats, Roman.
Take care.
Talk to you later.
Alrighty, we are pleased to be joined by a guy that is from Brampton, Ontario. He drafted in the 5th round to the Canadians. He played in 152 NHL games with the Montreal Canadiens and the Hurricanes. He's an OHL champ with the Plymouth Whalers, and he's currently playing overseas. He's an avid golfer in the summers, so we're pleased to have on today Chris Terry.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Nothing better than having a guy that plays hockey and a guy that plays golf. Nothing better. So we're happy to have you on today, Chris.
I appreciate the invite. Two of my favorite sports. Golf is right up there for me.
Absolutely, yeah. That's kind of our sports too. Yeah, hockey and golf, and we're fairly good at both of them, I'd say. Hey, Rip.
Very average.
Very average at both. Yeah. Chris, man, first up, what's new with you? What's happening in your life? You know, obviously we know that you played your past season here over in the KHL, but with COVID and whatnot, it's kind of, you know, COVID's kind of on its way out, which is good to see. But what's new with you and what's going on?
Yeah, it was interesting year, obviously going to the KHL. My wife was pregnant. She was due in beginning of May, so COVID with the AHL and the NHL and timing. KHL just worked out. I ended up only going. I left Christmas Day and was back in March, so I played the last third of the season and then playoffs. Fortunately, I was home for the birth of our son, Brooks. He came a month early in April, so daddy duties a lot. My rounds of golf have probably significantly gone down, but I'm back out playing a little more. He's getting a little older, so stay at home training. I live in Michigan in the summer. Actually, right next to where the Plymouth Whalers used to play. So my wife's from here, so we call here home in the summer and just training and working out and playing as much golf as I can.
Well, congrats on the kid and the sex.
Thank you.
So it's awesome to hear. Okay, well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here at any point, but growing up in Brampton, is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
So what was that like? And, what was a young Chris Terry doing as a youngster growing up in Brampton?
I played hockey from a young age, 4 or 5. The Brampton Battalion came into the OHL maybe when I was around 8 or 9, and I played my youth hockey all through Brampton before jumping down to the GTHL, the Greater Toronto Hockey League.
Yeah.
Yep.
I grew up dying to play in the OHL. I was a huge Battalion fan. My dad used to take me to Sunday games all the time. I think my dad wanted me to go college route a little more. He pushed me we went and saw U of M and University of North Dakota. But funny story, actually, I was drafted. This is, God, 16 years ago now, but we had to put like the draft was online, and my dad put it on like a projection screen, and I got drafted, and my dad turned to my mom and said, "Where's Plymouth?" And neither of them knew. They had to look on a map and realize it was in Michigan. And my first training camp when I was 16, my dad's like, "Just go. They're going to tell you to go home and play junior A." And Brampton and Bramalea had a junior A team, so I was looking forward to playing for one of them. And we got there and can't finish, and we had an exit meeting, and GM's like, "All right, so we set you up with this billet. You have to be back here." And I swear my dad's jaw hit the floor. He's like, "Wait, you want him to play this year?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, this year." So it was things happened really fast at that time, but it was for the best, and it was awesome. I loved every second of it.
So, before obviously the junior came, you put up quite the points in minor, midget, and then continue that success in the junior, as we all know on, the elite prospects. When did you kind of figure out, hey, I could probably do this for a career?
Probably
16?
not till I signed. No, it was just a huge honor and feat to make an OHL team. My first year was a good year. I actually tore my ACL the last game of the playoffs, so it was kind of a miserable summer rehabbing 5 months. And then my second year was my NHL draft year, and I had a slow start. Fortunately, it was the year we won the OHL and went to the Memorial Cup. Was drafted in the 5th round, and I was disappointed at the time, but didn't realize what it meant to be drafted at all. So I look back on that and probably took it for granted. But now I realize, what an honor and feat that was. And even my next 2 years of junior, I was just enjoying myself. I loved the game. Obviously, I wanted to be a pro, but I don't think I ever realized it until I actually signed my first pro contract. And my first year playing pro in Albany, it was an eye opener to see the day-to-day grind, what it is to be a pro, and to know you're going up against men who have kids who are putting food on the table by doing this for a living. And I was only 20, so I was still enjoying life and doing a lot of things away from the rink that were a lot of fun. And so probably right around when I turned pro was when I realized, this is a living. This is what I'm going to do to, make income for X amount of years.
Yeah.
Me? So you mentioned you go on to win an OHL championship in the 06-07 season. And you go on to the Memorial Cup in Vancouver, which, funny story, I was there too at that time. Just walk us through winning that championship and playing in the Memmer.
It was wild. That whole season, we got off to a horrendous start. We were like 5-12, and we had a game in Belleville Kingston on a Sunday, and we played in Belleville Saturday. And all the guys who were 19 went out to the bar, and we were just in a very bad slump. And it was like, the guys just got to go out. We got to break this. Well, they got caught. And the next game, we played at 2:00 in Kingston, and our coach sat every guy that went out. We dressed seven forwards, 4D, and 2 goalies, and he made us play. So I wasn't 19, so I didn't go out, but I had to play the game, and he got in trouble by the league. It was a little embarrassing, but from that point on, we went on a tear and ended up winning our division, finishing second in the conference. And I just remember the final series against Sudbury. Sudbury is a hockey city up northern Ontario, and the fans are wild there. And winning Game 6 was just crazy. James Neal scored, and place went pretty quiet but pretty loud for us. And then the trip back, we chartered a plane, so that was my first time on a chartered plane, and we were drinking, and it was just a crazy party, wild party when we got back, and just celebrating. And then Memorial Cup was awesome. I hadn't been to Vancouver, I don't think, as a grown up, I guess. I think I went as a kid, so I didn't really remember it.
Yep.
What a city, though. Downtown, we were walking around, and the building was electric every game. We didn't show that well, but what a great trip. It was awesome. My parents came out, and a lot of families of the players did, and just a very cool experience that I'll never forget.
Yeah, that tournament had so many big names too. That like the Medicine Hat team and the Vancouver team, and there were so many big names that moved on to the NHL that played there that year.
It was wild. So Darren Helm, I trained with here in Michigan, and he was on that Medicine Hat team.
Yep.
So we've talked about that in the past, and there was, just in our team alone, James Neal, Jared Bull, Michael Neuwirth, Darren Helm, Milan Lucic was in the tournament, Tyler Ennis.
Yeah.
Like it was
16-year-old Evander Kane was there.
Chris Russell.
Yep.
Yeah, Chris Russell, Sestito,
Jonathan Bernier, and David Perron on the Quebec team. So yeah, it was those are memories I'll never forget. I could list off all the players and the games we lost, and pretty cool to see those guys have such great success in the NHL.
So, Chris, I do want to backtrack just a quick one here. Obviously, you played for Plymouth. You were the captain for a couple seasons, and you ripped it up. I think 96 points, and then you had a 100-point season in 1 year. Both great years. When did you really start to figure it out and really gain that confidence? Because obviously, you got drafted. You had to kind of separate yourself from everyone else that's been drafted in the NHL as well, and everyone else that's playing in the OHL wants to play pro hockey. You obviously took it to a whole nother level by scoring X amount of points. Just walk us through, all that confidence that you must have gained.
Yeah, I give a lot of credit to my coach in Plymouth, Mike Vellucci. My second year, slow start off knee surgery, and we had a stacked team, and I was a 17-year-old kid, and he played me on the second line with Michael Ryder. I'm sure you remember that name.
Oh, yeah.
I was on the first power play unit, playing the point, and at first, I'm like, what's this guy thinking? But each game just kind of snowballed to gain confidence, and I was playing a prominent role on a very dominant team at a young age, and it just propelled the confidence to continue. The next year, obviously, in junior, as you guys know, there's a lot of turnover with guys aging out and moving on, and So we were a very young team the next year, but I had gained that confidence and maturity from learning from those guys to kind of take a bit, bit of personality from every guy to try to mold into who I wanted to be. And, I think the confidence from that second year just kind of carried over in the third year. And my role grew to be even bigger on a younger team. And we made the playoffs that year. We were, near the bottom. It was kind of to be expected with the guys we lost, but it definitely was a lot of fun for me to gain more confidence, to play a dominant role, be that go-to guy at 18 years old. It obviously helped me move forward to where I am today, but even into my final year junior, when probably one of my best years, if not my best year in my 4-year career there.
So, Chris, now jumping to the next and probably most important draft of your professional career, 5th round to the Montreal Canadiens in 2007. It's a 2-part question here. First, how special was that for you and your family? And then second, you wait quite some time getting your first NHL game, and I believe it was 2012 with the Hurricanes. Correct me if I'm wrong at any point, but walk us through that experience as well.
So I was drafted by the Hurricanes, actually. I played with Montreal later in my career.
Nice.
Yeah, so the draft was in Columbus. It was like a 5-hour drive from Brampton. I was rated to go in the 4th to 5th round, or 3rd to 5th round, and my parents wanted to go, and I was skeptical, and we ended up going anyways. So we went the second day, the Saturday, and sat there, and I watched a lot of peers or colleagues that I played with or played against get drafted in 2nd and 3rd round, and I started getting really antsy at the start of the 4th, almost frustrated, pissed off that I hadn't gone, and I was ready to leave. I told my dad, like, middle of the 4th, I'm like, let's go. And thankfully that's why we have good parents, and we stayed. And obviously once you hear your name called, you forget about all that bullshit. I don't know if I can say that on here, but all that bullshit that you were thinking about before, and you get to walk down on the draft floor and they hand you a jersey. And what I thought was really cool is, like, I was a 5th rounder, but I did all the media stuff in the back and the pictures, and so it was really cool how they treated you. Went up to Carolina Suite. That was the year they won the cup, so Rod Brindamore was there. It was the year after they won, because they had their Stanley Cup rings there, and we were checking them out, and just a surreal experience. Out to dinner after, and the celebration, obviously how hard you've worked, but to have my parents there, my sister was there, to know the sacrifices that they've done to, see a goal achieved of this level was, pretty cool to be a part of.
Absolutely. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you're going this is coming from me, but from a 1st round pick to what is there, 7 rounds in the NHL draft?
Yep.
Yeah. Either way, you're still there, and, I didn't get drafted, nor did Rip, but that's still impressive. And, but I do want to bring up, and I could be wrong again here, you scored your first goal in those 3 games with the Hurricanes. Is that correct?
Sorry. Yes. I forgot the second part. Yeah. So I played, my first 3 years pro in the AHL, Albany, and then they moved their team to Charlotte the next 2 years. I played every game, all 3 seasons. Each year was progressively getting better. My 4th year in March, I got after practice in Charlotte, coach called me in. He said, all right, it's your time. You're calling you up. And, you wait for it a long time. I thought I deserved it for a while. I felt like I had progressed and developed and played well. And I just remember my wife, now girlfriend at the time, was living with me. So she was my first call. I said, whatever you're doing, pack a bag. We're driving 2.5 hours up to Raleigh. I called my parents, and they couldn't believe it. They had a flight booked before I even got home to leave. But just the day itself, one of those days you'll just never forget. I remember going through pregame skate and a lot of very veteran guys were very generous and kind and coming up and saying, hey, like, just enjoy it. Like, don't worry what happens. Like, you're here for a reason, kind of thing. Let your instincts take over. And yeah, sure enough, in the second period, I got a lone in front and beat Hedberg 5-hole. And if you watch the video, it's kind of embarrassing. My celebration, it's like I had like I was so excited I was gonna go jump into the glass, but then I kind of like panicked and didn't know what to do. So I just like bump into it, and luckily Eric Stahl gets there very fast, or else I probably could embarrass myself a little more. But kind of a blackout moment where I don't really know what was happening, but a lot of excitement. My parents, sister, and girlfriend were all there, so pretty cool experience. One I look back on, and obviously I have the puck, and it's pretty cool to sit here today, 12 years later, into my pro career, and just remember that excitement and just what it meant to play in the NHL for the first time, and obviously score. And luckily enough, I think it ended up being the game winner. We ended up winning 4-2 and scored the third. So it was a special day, no doubt.
See, I love these stories. Like I love like getting called, the guys that get called up, and then they go through the whole warm-ups and the pregame. Let's walk through warm-ups. Like, what's going through your brain out there? Like, I would just be like, oh, there's a lot of people watching me right now. Warm up.
Coach is the warm-up king, by the way.
Yeah, like if I could play one game of the show and just get scratched, like just do warm-ups. But hey, you're out tonight. That's me. I'm that guy.
So I'm getting dressed, and who knows where my head is. I'm nervous, I'm excited, and I put my lower half on, and I put my elbow pads on, and I like stand up and I put my jersey on, and I go to grab my helmet, and like I realized I haven't put my shoulder pads on. Like I'm obviously just nervous as can be. I'm like, holy shit, like take off my sweater real quick. Hopefully nobody saw that. So obviously I was pretty nervous, but warm-ups it's like a blackout moment. Like the tunes are buzzing, and you're buzzing around out there, high stepping in the NHL, and
out of the corners.
yeah, and you're just honestly at times you're trying not to get in the way, because guys have routines, what they do, and rituals, and this is your first warm-ups with this team, and you're like, just don't hit Eric Stahl or something, or Tim Gleason, they'll kill you. So tried to stay out of the way, tried to still be ready, and I don't think it came anywhere within 10 feet of the red line, that's for sure. But it was fun. I mean, the building was it was at a high point in Carolina when the crowds were electric, coming off not too many years after the Stanley Cup. So pretty cool experience, and just buzzing around and trying not to get in anybody's way, pretty much.
Did you wear a bucky, and did you do a solo lap?
I wore a helmet and did not. So that came in, that kind of started.
Wow, no solo lap.
Within the last 5 years. That wasn't it wasn't really, I don't know. They didn't do that back, whatever it was, 8 years ago, but I didn't do either. But I did later in my career when I was playing with the Hurricanes full time, a couple of games in Toronto. Go no bucky for warmies, just for my buddies and stuff at home, and it was about the only time I felt I could do that. So
for Foxstone.
Oh
yeah,
that's what I live for. That's unbelievable. I love that. Love those stories.
Actually, before in the AHL, you used to be able to go no bucky and warmies until Taylor Hall fell and split his head with all the stitches. So we used to play 3-3s, Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoon game, and Sunday afternoon you're barely awake, your body hurts and can barely get through like off ice warm up to get going for the game. So going no helmet for warm ups there, that fresh air hitting your face wakes you up. That was always what I used it for.
I love this. All right, Chris. Well, I do want to talk about now where you're at. You played, like you mentioned earlier, your first year in the KHL. We've had on, Tim Stapleton, good buddy of ours. First, how's that experience over there? And you must have some good stories from the KHL thus far.
Yeah, overall it was a good experience. fortunately, I had 5 other North American players on the team, so that helped a lot. Coaching staff spoke English, goes a long way.
That
The
helps.
hockey is really good. I mean, it's fast. The skill level, the depth of skill level throughout the lineup is tremendous. Like it's like your fourth line players have high end skill still. You know, it's pretty cool. It's just wild. Like sometimes you play on an NHL rink, and then they remove the Olympic size rink, but they play on the finish, which is so the NHL is 26 feet wide,
Yep.
and then the finish goes to 28. So it doesn't matter. Like for me, like road games, I'm like, hey, what are we playing on tonight? Like I never knew what we were playing on. So
Playing on bent grass or playing on whatever they want to call it.
exactly, yeah. So I was treated well. You know, the amenities in the locker room. I'd say 50% of the team couldn't speak a lick of English. There was 3 guys on the team that could speak fluent English, so that helped. You know, my first game, the coach comes in to do his pregame speech, just rips off Russian, just goes, all Russian pregame speech, and like us 5 imports kind of sitting near each other, comes over, he goes, "Play well tonight," and walks out. So like he had a very like high trust level for the imports, because whatever he said in Russian, he summarized into about 6 words of what he said to us. So the travel is a bitch.
Yeah.
You can
Sucks.
fly to a time zone that's like 7 hours ahead of you over by China. So China had a team this year, but they played out of Moscow because of COVID.
Yeah.
But there's a team, Amur, which is like almost on the border of China. So fortunately, I missed that trip. I wasn't there yet, but I heard some horror stories. It's just crazy. Like I brought all my gear just because I didn't know how they'd be able to get stuff there mid-season. So when guys get new sticks there, they just use like stock sticks out of the pro shop. So the equipment guy just goes down to the pro shop and grabs like a Sakic or a Dury.
E92.
Yeah. So that was kind of funny, just coming from like, the routine here of pretty much every guy getting their own stick they wanted. So
you get what you asked for.
yeah. But yeah, we had this one flight into Chelyabinsk, and we were landing at like 2 a.m. and it had to be 60-mile-an-hour winds, and the oxygen mask actually came down. Not all of them, just one of them. But I mean, I've never white knuckle grabbed something so tight than that. Those like armrests on my seat, like it was just a very bad weather night, and like Russia is so cold. There's so much snow. Like it's kind of miserable in the winter. Like you got to dress warm, and you don't go outside unless you're walking into the rink. So it was overall a good experience. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I was only there for 3 months, but it was a lot of fun, and I think for a lot of different reasons. But I think there could be other experiences that guys could have some different perspectives.
So do you plan on going back at all, or?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I don't think so this season. I'm not closing the door, but with a newborn baby, I don't think my wife is high on moving us over there. So I think in a perfect world, I'd probably like to stay over here back in the AHL this year.
Yeah.
It was just a bad year with COVID and screwing up salaries, and guys were only getting paid 50% in the American League. So it was a good time to go, but I would go back in a couple years for sure. I have a better lay of the land now over there. I feel like I know what teams, what cities are nice, and frankly, there's a lot of good cities. I mean, Moscow is incredible. Like they had 6 teams play out of Moscow. Moscow's huge, 20 million people.
Wow.
They got four airports. So
that's nuts.
It was cool though. I mean, the city we lived in, we were treated well. We were about an hour flight from Moscow. The further you get away from Moscow, obviously, the less English, but Moscow was very international. When you go out to dinner, you could get an English menu, but we used a lot of Google Translate on our phone when we were out to dinner in our city. So
Chris, did you play against Nigel Dawes at all over there this past year?
I did. He was on Akbar's. We played them in the first round, actually.
He's a king, eh?
Yeah, they love him there.
He's a KHL legend. He still gets it done. I think he's a couple years older than me, but I know he's been over there a long time. His points per game is incredible. Like he's so hard to play against, and he's got such good offensive touch. They came up short. I think they lost in the conference finals or finals this year, but yeah, he still gets it done. He's a good player over there, first power play unit, and I don't know him at all, but he's a heck of a player.
Former Kootenay Ice player, and he was nasty.
Yeah.
Chris, we got to talk some golf here before we go into our segment called Questions from the Gallery. Your Twitter bio says you're an avid golfer. We talked off air. You're not an avid golfer. Where's your golf game at? Obviously, you have a newborn. But yeah, what's your handicap? What's your game at right now?
My index 1.6.
All right.
So they say you're only as good as your last shift. So I'll tell you this story. I'm only as good as my last round. So I played a qualifier yesterday for it's called the GAM Championship. It's the Golf Association of Michigan. It's very comparable to the Michigan Am.
Mm-hmm.
Grinded my way through the rain yesterday, turned 2 over, got it back to even par on 9, looked at the leaderboards for 10 spots. It said, I quickly glanced, like it's Golf Genius app, on your phone. Yep. And I looked and said +1 was the cut, and it's a par 3, 200, all carry. So I'm like, all right, try to make a par, but don't do anything stupid here and just get in it. If you got to make a bogey, you got to make a bogey. Well, I ended up making bogey, and I was in a playoff. So I shot 71, and it was a 5 for 3, and I bogeyed the second hole. And it's the second year in a row that I've lost in a playoff. So I'm a choke artist in a playoff, apparently. But
hey, that sounds like me, Chris. That's exactly what I do. We're good till the end.
We had a tough week.
Yeah. But yeah, my golf game is I belong to Western Golf and Country Club, so play there quite a bit in the summer. I think last year I posted over 100 scores. This year is going to be significantly less. So when I say avid golfer, I play a lot. This summer's a little different, but the last 3-4 years I've been in a little more competitive golf. Last year I qualified for the Michigan Am, and I got an exemption into the GAM Championship last year. So I've enjoyed competitive golf. Obviously, I have competitive juices that come from hockey, and I love the compete. I love the grind of, I made a double yesterday and still shot 1 over. So I love the chase of birdies and yep. Trying to get around back on track. So my game has improved a lot in probably 6-7 years. So 7 years ago, I joined this club I'm at now. I started as a 8-9 index, and I've been as low as a +0.7. But I've also learned that you cannot win money as a plus.
Nope.
So I like to keep the cap right around 1 to 2.
Me and Coach just got shelled a couple weeks ago by a couple high handicappers, and we shot well too.
I'm a +2, Chris, and I find it harder every day to even get a sniff to get to 18. It's a battle.
Yeah,
and nothing worse when a guy's at a 14 and shoots like 74.
Guy just 4 for 3s you all day. It's a joke.
I was playing with a guy yesterday. He had their member at their club, and he's a +1, and he dunked it for a hole-in-one. It was a 1 for 2. I couldn't believe the story as he's telling me. He was telling me so casual, so like calm.
-2.
I'm like, dude, you made a hole-in-one? He's like, yeah. I'm like, but he's like, I made a 1 for 2. Like that was the easiest hole in the course. I'm like, you made a hole-in-one, man. Like, let's just talk about that.
That's unreal. Chris, are you a righty or lefty?
I'm a lefty, so I shoot left in hockey. But my dad was a lefty growing up. That was the clubs I was given, and that's what I swung. And it's kind of nice. I don't know what way you guys swing, but it's been right? The lefty game's growing a lot more. I don't know if you guys noticed. There's a lot more lefties in
There's too
amateur
many.
golf.
Absolutely.
There's too many of you guys.
Too many weirdos.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
probably eat pizza with a fork and knife, Chris.
I do not do that, but I will say we're a little weird as lefties.
But I'll be honest though, when I do watch a left-hander that has a nice swing,
Yeah.
they're unbelievable.
It looks smooth.
It looks like it's on TV. Like they're so cool
Yeah.
to watch. But yeah,
Butter zone.
the butter zone. All right, let's go into our questions from the gallery, sponsored by Molson Coors. Coors Seltzer is on a mission, helping restore fresh water to Canada's rivers through Change the Coors Foundation. Enjoy the Coors Seltzer mixer pack with 4 great flavors: black cherry, mango, grapefruit, and lemon lime. All right, we already asked your handicap, so we'll go to your lowest round ever, Chris.
69. Only time I've broken 70.
Dinner for 2. Favorite course you've ever played?
Probably Muirfield Village.
Wow.
Where's that?
Ohio. It's where the Memorial Tournament is, Jack
Right.
Nicklaus Tournament. But so I got to play with Jason Day there, so it was probably more the experience of that.
heard of him.
The course is incredible, but it was probably more the experience than anything.
Wow.
So
That guy
Absolutely.
has unreal style.
Yeah.
he's the
Mhm.
nicest human being I've ever met. So when I was in Carolina, James Wisniewski, he lives on the course and a member, and he's buddies with him. And it's only 2.5 hours from here. He's like, come down and play. I'm like, really? I'm like, all right. So
I'll be right there.
he was the nicest guy in the world, like talking, just cared about like anything you said. And the coolest thing I thought was like, if us 3 went out and played shinny, we'd screw around and like kind of just whatever,
Yeah.
just dick around with our buddies.
Yep.
I mean, he could have done that and obliterated us, but he did his pre-shot routine every time, hit the shot, and then literally would walk and keep talking. Like he was out there for a purpose, but like was still an incredible guy.
That's
Like it was
awesome.
No bad
awesome.
habits.
No, yeah, I guess.
That's why we're
Just like-
amateurs, Chris.
yeah, that's true.
Rev, you got any?
I'm gonna go back to your junior days. You ended up playing your last year junior. You played with Sagan. How was he as a junior? Was he a weapon back then, like he is now?
He was beginning to be. He's actually
You could tell.
yeah, he's from Brampton, so I knew him before he came to the Whalers. He was a fun kid. Could see back then that he could fly with the puck. He was the beginning of a superstar. I think the first half of the season they kind of had their maybe not used correctly. The reins were on him a little bit, and the second half they came off, and he just flourished, and you could see that it was going to be something special. But he was a great kid. Yeah, he was just starting to become a weapon, as you said. So.
He's a rock star.
Rip,
Yeah.
I think you brought this up, and we could be wrong too here. Did you grow up with PK Subban?
I did. So played against them in minor hockey and with them. We ended up. Do you guys know the Super 8 brick tournament in Edmonton?
Oh, you're
Yeah.
kidding. Oh yeah, I played in that too.
So we played on Toronto Pro Hockey and ended up winning it. And he was
shocker.
he was the star of the show. He scored the OT winner.
Yeah.
But I grew up even through junior. We used to train a little bit together in the summer too. So I've known him since we were little kids.
There was a stretch at the brick tournament where I think it was 7 straight years, either Toronto Pro or the Toronto Bulldogs won. I don't know if the Bulldogs played when you were there.
They came in after me a
Yeah.
couple years later. I
Yes.
remember.
So these 2 programs just come and dominate this tournament. Like it's a joke.
That tournament was a lot of fun. I mean,
Right.
back then being
Blast.
like we never knew anything about that mall hockey rink in the mall, and
Great
the
call.
hotel was like themed with
You stayed at the mall too, eh?
yeah
Yeah.
that was pretty cool.
Sick.
Pre-game meals at Hooters.
Water park.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So actually, not a funny story, but so we ended up winning. We won, and
Yep.
the restaurant right next to the rink there we went. But you know how on the outside of the rink there's like those metal spikes in the fence.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, we were young and scooters were cool back then. We were scootering and we had a great idea to climb over. Well, one of the kids climbed over and went right through his hand. The
Oh,
spike
no.
had to go to the hospital. So it kind of put a buzzkill on the celebration. But hey, that's unfortunately one of the memories I have after we won.
Well, Rip says you play stupid games,
Get stupid answers.
stupid results.
Yeah.
Stupid results.
Chris, how many hole ones do you have?
Just one. Got it
One.
maybe 5 years ago at public course around here, Pheasant Run.
And was it free drinks for an hour?
No, it was me and my buddy. It was like 8 a.m. on a Wednesday, and
Oh,
we went in the clubhouse, and there was like 6 people in there. So I bought everyone to run around, and no one
See,
else came
that's a
in. So I'm
freebie. There you go, guys.
like, all right, I'm out of here.
wow.
Yeah.
Rip.
Got away with murder.
Yeah, you did. No kidding. Troy's not here, and he usually asks this question. He goes, "What's your ultimate foursome?"
Tiger Woods for sure.
Yeah, given.
Have to be just golfers or any
It
athlete.
could be
Well,
whoever
Troy
you
says
want.
dead or alive, but it'd be hard to play with someone's dead. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
um,
Tiger, I mean, you got to go MJ after watching The Last Dance and his love for golf. And like,
Yeah.
I just want to see someone play for 100K a hole. I mean, that's
Just to
incredible.
watch that. I'd be shit myself watching that.
There's a lot of other great athletes, but I love golf and I'm a lefty. I would love nothing more to play with Phil Mickelson. I think it's just, the epitome of a lefty. And honorable mention to Mike Weir, because him winning the Masters when I was younger was probably a big reason why, I love golf. And I remember watching there on Sunday with my dad when he won and just lifted a country on his back, basically. So pretty cool.
okay, I got one more here for you, Chris. One of your best NHL stories, whether it's a locker room prank or a flight food thing or whatever. I'm sure you have one good one here for us.
We had a flight one time. We were leaving Carolina, and it was pretty relaxed on the flight day before a game, and we're going to take off, and we're flying down the runway, and all of a sudden he slammed on the brakes, and we went skidding off, and I guess one of the tires like broke, and we kind of went into the grass, and I forget what the actual happened, but the tire broke after he hit the brakes, but he had to hit the brakes because something was, I don't know, some light came on or something. But I remember thinking like, this is the NHL. I was pretty young or pretty early in my career, so I'm like, this is the NHL. It's not supposed to happen. And I remember guys were freaking out. They couldn't believe this happened. So
it was probably like the guy from Liar Liar, Max. He's out the window. Rip, any more?
Let's go. Okay, over under 10 times. How many times did you score and carry price in practice when you played for the Canadians?
Oh, under for sure.
How good is that guy?
I don't think I ever shot 6 inches off the ice on him. I didn't want to come anywhere near his upper body. It's incredible how good he is. It's just how effortless he makes it seem. Like he's so well positioned that
he's so
obviously
big too.
Yeah, he has the reaction skills to be the best goalie like he is in the world, but he's in position that there's like nothing to shoot at, just hits him. Like the way he's so fluid going side to side. I think there's goalies that are ugly that get it done. Like Dominic Hasek was never pretty, but he's pretty to watch how he does it. So world-class goalie, obviously, but
okay, I have one more now, Chris, for you. Besides your first NHL goal, what is your best memory NHL goal? So besides the first one, walk us through like your favorite goal you scored besides the first one.
Probably my first as a Canadian. We're playing Anaheim. at the Bell Center. I grew up a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, hated the Canadians, but got off to a good start and called up, playing primarily the fourth line. Got a shift late in the third on Anaheim. We were up 4-1 or 3-1, and kind of made a sick shot from the goal line that went short side on Bernier. So just a cool experience to score for Montreal Canadiens, a storied franchise. But I'd even go even further. Like my best moment besides my first game in goal was playing the Leafs Saturday night, hockey night in Canada, in the Bell Center. Didn't score, didn't win. Austin Matthews, I think, had a hat trick, but it was the coolest experience I've ever been a part of. Like the music they play, the organ, the crowd, like just Toronto versus Montreal, knowing, all my buddies, what I grew up watching. This is what we did on Saturday nights. So probably one of the coolest moments for me in the NHL.
Jeez. How good is Austin Matthews? Like my best friend, he just got a shot in the NHL this year. He's playing for Vancouver, and his first 4 out of the 7 games he played against Toronto. And he said, like, when you're sitting on the bench in the second period where they're going the other way, you can hear Austin Matthews shoot the puck. Like, you can hear the puck go through the air.
Yeah, I mean, his hands are incredible. Like he has the best release I've ever seen. The way he can pull it outside, inside. I probably watched him more from the bench. I'm not sure I was ever allowed out there against him, but
that's why he was on there too.
Yeah. I only played against him a few times, probably. But obviously you can see what he does with the puck. I played, we were in the division with Pittsburgh when I was at Carolina. I played against Crosby a lot more, and I'm not saying he's better than Matthews, but I'm saying I played against him more, and he is the most complete, like, beautiful player. Like, he just glides along the ice. Like everything is so effortless. He's so strong. I don't know. I got to play a couple shifts against him. I don't know what happened, but so that is, like, he is the world-class player for me, just from a playing against the guy more standpoint. So,
okay, Chris, last one here for all the listeners. We asked this to everyone that's done something successful in life. For a young listener today, what can you tell them what it takes to make it to, whether it's the NHL or the PGA, or be a doctor? Just some good life advice for the youngsters.
I think being a multi-sport athlete, I think don't be so dominant. And I mean, obviously as you get older, you will know what your dominant sport is, what love you have for which sport. But I think what kind of got lost in the last couple of years in kids is, it's like hockey 12 months out of the year. Maybe, I don't know golf well enough at the amateur level to say it's 12 months, but like it was hockey in the winter for me. Then it was lacrosse or baseball. And I enjoy those other sports. I think it rounded me into an athlete. And honestly, I think it carried over to hockey with hand-eye coordination and that sort of stuff. So I would, my advice would be just to be a multi-sport athlete. Enjoy your time away from the rink or the course, like whatever you feel like you're best at, or you want to pursue something in. Just enjoy other things in life, because life's too short to just focus on one sole thing. And honestly, I just think it makes you a better player in whatever sport you are, to be capable to play those other sports, and you'll pick up little tendencies that'll probably help you along the way. So be my advice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Perfectly said, man. Well, Chris, we appreciate coming on the podcast. We'd love to do this again. Wish you the best, whether it's going back to Russia or hopefully you're back up in the NHL sooner or later here, man. Thanks again.
No, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.